You might not think of the Stoics as anxious people, partly because the reputation of the Stoics is that they're invulnerable, that they're invincible, that they have no emotions. But we know that Marcus Aurelius struggled with anxiety, because if he didn't, he wouldn't have written so many reminders to himself about how to deal with it. So in today's episode, I want to talk about a bunch of tried and tested strategies for reducing, addressing, alleviating, hopefully eliminating anxiety in your life. I know they've worked for me. It's definitely an ongoing battle, as it was for Marcus Aurelius, as it was for Seneca, but these strategies work. And so here in today's episode are some Stoic strategies for reducing anxiety.
And before we start, anxiety is defined in psychology as neuroticism. And neuroticism is one of the big 5 psychological traits, which are influenced by your body. At least from my experience, what comes from your body should be fixed in part, at least in part, by fixing your body.
I hope you like them. Little things are not small. George Washington's favorite expression was, many mickles make a muckle. I think Zeno said it better. He said, well-being is realized by small steps, but it's no small thing. Marcus Aurelius says, we assemble our life action by action, step by step. No one can stop you from that. So today, as you get discouraged, as you look at this goal that's way, way off in the distance, don't focus on that. Focus on the immediate task in front of you. Concentrate like a Roman, as Marcus Aurelius says. Do this thing in front of you as if it's the only thing that matters, as if it's the last thing that you're doing in your life, and that adds up. It's no small thing. Many mickles make a muckle, as Washington said. Stuff adds up. That's how you get there, one step at a time.
Not only that, it helps to think about, what can I do now? If you ask yourself a question about action, it really helps you to deal with almost anything in your life.
One day at a time, one action at a time, one insight at a time. Just go now. Marcus Aurelius says, just remember you're lucky to be alive in this moment. Even if things are crazy and insane and awful in the world, they're also wonderful because you're getting to experience them. And to take that for granted, to be bitter or jaded or cynical about that, it's to waste this gift you've been given. And there's a reason they call it the present. It is a gift. And look, even if this is not the most wonderful time to be alive, it's the only time in which you are alive. So we focus on what we control, which is our perceptions, our opinion about things, that we control, not when and where we are.
In my case, this does not work. I tried gratitude, it didn't work for me at all. But when I started taking supplements, I'm not going to tell you which ones, you can ask me in the comments, but when I started taking supplements, I found out that I naturally felt more gratitude about the things that are in my life.
We try to make the most of it. We try to accept it. We try to be grateful for it. And that's how we find happiness now in this present moment, no matter what's happening in the world. One of my favorite quotes from Marcus Aurelius, he says, you know, you don't have to have an opinion about that. And I just think about that all the time. I don't have to have an opinion about this. I can just let it be. I can ignore it. I can realize it doesn't pertain to me, or I can just see it as it is. I don't need to say that it's good or bad, fair or unfair. It just is. I'm going to look at it as an objective piece of information. It doesn't need me projecting my thoughts or beliefs or perceptions on it. It is. You don't have to have an opinion about this.
What is your take about this? Because this is first time that I hear this idea, and in my case, I'm like, what? How is that anxiety inducing? Having an opinion. But what do you think? Let me know what you think. And I'm just asking you, what do you think?
The key to tranquility and peace, Marcus Aurelius says, is when you stop caring what other people say, what other people think, what other people are doing. He says the tranquility that comes when you care about only what you do and say. The tranquility that comes when you stop caring what they say or think or do, only what you do.
I agree with that, and I think in my life personally, there is a lot of anxiety coming from that. But on the other hand, I think that this anxiety might be helpful, and it has helped me in many ways in my life. So it's not 100% clear cut, like stop thinking. No, if you stop thinking, you will just go outside naked. You will get arrested. But you have to modulate how much you care.
A Stoic is not someone who stuffs their emotions down. That's not it at all. The Stoics process their emotions. This is why they journaled. Socrates went around asking these questions. This is why Seneca would write these letters to his friend Lucilius. We even have some of Marcus Aurelius's letters that survive. The Stoics were not stuffing their emotions down, pretending they don't have them. They were exploring them. The Stoics talk about taking an emotion when it hits you and putting it up to the test, observing it, meditating on it.
Yes, or if you don't have a time, then you can ask yourself some questions like, what should I do? And in my case, that question eliminates really a lot of thinking. And then if this is a negative emotion, most likely this is some new piece of information about yourself. You deal with this emotion by going through the 5 stages of grief.
Processing it, getting to the bottom of it. If you just ignore your emotions, if you just conquer them, to me, it's like putting it on a credit card. Sure, you're not having to pay for it now, but eventually it's going to come due and the interest is going to make it even more expensive. So don't shut your emotions down. Deal with them, process them, explore them, get through them. Don't be ruled by them. In ignoring them, you are guaranteeing that later it's going to be an even bigger deal and you're going to be even more powerless over that emotion.
I recommend is that you look up the definition of emotions and what emotions there are, because sometimes we don't really understand what kind of emotion we are feeling. And so if you know what kind of possible options you have, then it's kind of like a buffet. Oh, now I'm anxious, or oh, now I'm fearful, or oh, now I'm anticipating something. So then you know what exactly is causing your emotion.
So work on your emotions. Do not fall into this trap that the Stoics suppress their emotions. They domesticate them, as Nassim Taleb says. But first, that requires facing them and exploring them and coming to terms with them. Seneca points out that we suffer more in imagination than in reality, meaning that all the things we're anxious about, the things we worry about, the things we spend a lot of time hoping won't happen, most of them never do happen. There's that great Twain quote where he talks about how he's suffered through many things in life and how many of them have never actually happened. Because that's what he means. In our mind, we're torturing ourselves. We're worried that this could happen and that could happen. We're worried about this possibility or that possibility. But the reality is, now is now. You don't control whether that will happen or not. What you do control is now. You, of course, control how prepared you are for the adversity of the future, the uncertainty of the future. But what you mainly control is the present moment. Take advantage of the present moment. Don't give up the present moment because you're really worried and off thinking about what could and almost certainly will not happen in the future.
You have to, again, think in actions. What action can you take? And then you ask yourself, okay, what's the worst that can happen? What's the best outcome? What's the worst outcome? And then when you know the worst outcome, then you can think of it, okay, what can I do now? Action, like what action can I take to prevent that worst outcome or to get ready for the worst outcome? And then even when you look at the worst outcome, you will be like, oh, okay, so that's not that bad, actually. And I did it so many times in the past, and it works like a charm.
No one can harm you, at least according to the Stoics. They can hurt you, they can say cruel things, they can attack you, they can cut you, they can make you bleed. But to the Stoics, harm was a choice. You decide to see yourself as harmed by it. You remember Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. We choose to feel harmed. You are hurt the moment you believe yourself to be, Epictetus said. Marcus Aurelius says, don't want to be harmed, don't choose to feel harmed. We control our emotions, we control our opinions, we control the story we tell ourselves about what happened. And that's why the Stoics said you are complicit when you feel harmed. You choose to see it that way.
And also, you need to make the distinction between hurting and harming, because not everything that harms you is hurtful, and not everything that's hurtful is harmful. Like drugs, they are not hurtful, but they are harmful. Let's say physical exercise can hurt you, but it's very good for you.
I do this one thing every single day, and you can see I'm a little sweaty right now. I just went on a long walk with my kids. This is the property there. We just went on this long walk around our property. We talked, we threw sticks, we told stories. We were just outside. There's this great expression from Nietzsche. He says, only ideas had when walking have any worth. And I think that's right. Even Seneca talks about how the mind must be given over to wandering walks.
Yes, and walks help you to process your emotions, because when you are walking, you don't really have to process any new information, right? So then you have time to understand what's inside of you. And in my case, riding a motorcycle also helps. If you get in the morning and then you ride until the evening, by the evening, you processed almost everything you had in your head, because and I don't listen to any music. I don't listen to anything so it's just you in the helmet on the road, and you just go, and some things will come up in your mind and you will have to think about them. And so it's very natural.
He says fields that are not allowed to rest will not bear plants. And he even says that, the mind will break like an anvil if not rested. And so this is really important. For me, walking is physical activity. It is exercise, but it's really about letting my mind rest. I leave my phone at home. I leave my thoughts at home. I leave my work at home. And I just go outside and I walk. And I don't even consider it exercise. It's exercise for my mind. It's time I spend with my family. It's time I spend on my property. It's time I spend outdoors. It's time I spend practicing gratitude and appreciation. This is a thing I do every day without fail, whether it's in a parking lot or on a beautiful beach somewhere. I go outside and take a walk, and so should you. People ask, what is the best way to start journaling? And the best way to start journaling is to start journaling. Look, there's a bunch of different ones you can do. I like the 1 line a day journal. This is just like a Moschine. This is a gratitude journal that I like. This is the Daily Stoic journal. But it doesn't really matter. Journal on your phone. Journal on a scrap of paper on the back of your to-do list. It doesn't matter. But the idea is that you journal every single day. Just do it. Or
you don't have to do it every single day, to be honest. If I do it every single day, it doesn't really work as well, so the efficiency goes down. It's okay. It's there are no rules. Nobody will there is no journaling police. Also, you don't have to call it journaling. I hate this word, and I don't call it. You can call it writing.
Right. Just get started. The best time to have started journaling is a long time ago. The second best time is right now. So if you want to start journaling, start journaling. Epictetus tells us that every situation has two handles. He says there's the handle that will bear weight and the handle that won't. He says you could look at it as your brother has wronged you, he's screwed you over, he's hurt you. Or you could say, I only have one brother. This is my brother. I'm going to forgive this person. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to be better. We're going to be better for having gone through this. So this idea that every situation, you can choose to see it as the way that disempowers you, that makes you the victim, or you can choose to see it as the opportunity for growth, as the thing that will make you better, as the thing that will make you stronger for having to wrestle with. So I just love this idea. And it comes from a person who's not speaking about this idly. You and I are so privileged compared to Epictetus, who's born a slave in Rome. He spends 30 years in slavery, but he doesn't see this as a huge disadvantage. He sees it as a learning experience, as a fate that he's struggling with that's making him stronger. He says, you've been paired with a tough opponent, and this is what's making you Olympic class material. That's Epictetus seeing the right handle in his own situation. So whatever you experience today, think about this. This has two handles. Which one am I going to pick? The one that will bear weight, that will make me better, or the one that won't bear weight, that will make me worse?
Yeah, you can choose your reactions. Anyway, guys, so my main, what I can resonate with is, number one, fix your body. If you have maybe naturally anxious type, for me, supplements help, okay? And I'm not going to tell you which ones. And number two, exercise really helps with so many things. I do light exercise every day. And journaling helps, but it helps kind of sometimes. Thinking about the worst possible outcome, oh my God, that's like that's like hospital for your anxiety. Look, there are situations when you do need to be anxious, when it's natural. Like when my son had cancer, even if I ask myself, okay, so what's the possible outcome, is that he will die, and that's terrible. And then you just accept your emotions and you're like, okay, it's okay to be anxious and think about your actions, right? Like, what do you need to do now, today, right now, to help to prepare for that outcome? But usually, none of the outcomes that you worry about are so bad. And then even if you take a time to think about the possible outcomes, oh no, my girlfriend doesn't like me anymore. Okay, what's the worst outcome? Well, she will leave me. Okay, and I have to find my own apartment, and I will have to spend time finding an apartment, and so so what, basically. So this is my take on this video, and you see some really good strategies here. Let us know in the comments what you liked, okay? If you like this video, also please click the like button and subscribe, maybe subscribe, or don't, I don't know. If you have any ideas how to improve my channel, please leave them in the comment section too. And I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.